For the life of me, I have never experienced such a thing as season 3 of 12-ounce mouse. This has taken several years off my life. It is something I can't explain. I can't fathom it. Everything I tried to establish previously, it's all void. It's meaningless. It's nothing. It, I figured it out. I thought I figured it out, but in the end, I didn't. I didn't figure out anything. It was all a lie. It was all a ruse. I just there's moments where I thought I was going insane, but it hasn't escalated to this point. So I have no other choice. I have to finish it, regardless of everything I established. I have to finish this, or else I'll never be free. Before we can even start, before we can even begin, before we can tackle, that is season 3 of 12-ounce mouse, we have to start at the beginning and not season 1, but the prelude to season 3, Evictus.
This show is toying with me because what they show me in the first 40 seconds, I can't believe it. Fitz, he's free. He's not in simulation anymore. He made it out. Not only did Fitz escape, but so did I. The angel was the portal all along, but this doesn't seem right. Alright. He does some tricks with a yo-yo before leaving to answer a video call from his shrink. Why is Shark the shrink? I knew it. It's because all of this is all fake. Shark is trying to locate Fitz. It seems like he didn't leave the simulation, just moved to somewhere else. Just when he thought it was over, an old friend, the spider, pays him a little visit, just like old times. Fitz calls an exterminator to deal with his arachnid problem. This bee here sounds very familiar.
Holy, what's with all the pizzas?
Anyway, after dealing with the spider, he gives Fitz a warning. We cut to Shark and Businessman. They are discussing about opening the gateway and how Fitz is the key. The next scene that played out shocked me to my very essence. They are planning to remove Fitz's brain. Not just that, Shark mentions how the bee also made it out. And then we finally see the gang. They are still trapped in the simulation. Rooster explains how Bee made it out of the simulation and how Fitz will save them. Later in the night, Shark attempts to attack Fitz from the other side, but was stopped by Bee. They retreat to his house, where we learn everything. Everything! Shark was using Fitz this whole time. Everything was a lie from day one. The way they explained it, it's very confusing, so I'll take it one step at a time. Shark was a scientist who discovered alternate dimensions. The process of traveling time to go into the future. The ability to rewrite time, to craft your own world. It's also revealed that Fitz's wife, his family, they were never real. Everything that happened thus far, it was all fake. It was all in the simulation. Shark and businessmen funded and started this project. They were playing God. Everything was going according to plan. That changed when Fitz woke up. Also, when Peanut and the nurse killed them. It appears that a part of them is still alive in the simulation. It's this special, it's already dismantling my previous theories, all my lore before it's just scattered. I don't know. I don't know anymore. No time to grieve. There's still a lot to cover. Another revelation that I already assumed was that Fitz, Rooster, Peanut, and Golden Joe, they all worked together. They worked with Fitz. They worked together before. Then Shark sent him into the simulation. We've established that. Besides all that, we have to continue. B and Fitz discussed their plan to return to the simulation, but it appears he was working with the Shark this whole time. After stunning him, they take him to the chair, where they switched his brain with Shark. Although Shark's plan has fallen into place, Rooster and the gang were on their way to save Fitz. Shark and businessmen make their way to the exit. While the gang tries to find Fitz, we see tubes containing Rhoda, Liquor, and the robotic spider. Is this a pod with their original bodies? Are they clones? Is this really them? Suddenly, another old friend makes an appearance. The clock. So many things are happening at once. The new guy can talk. The woman notices the clock. And Rooster reminds everyone that none of this is real. It's making my head hurt. My brain is melting at the seams of just trying to explain this. I'm not finished. I have to continue. They wake up Fitz, who has the mind of Shark. He tells them that Shark and businessmen are planning to escape. Fitz devises a plan to stop them with guns. After finding them, Fitz and Shark finally end their feud. He kills them. He consumes his brain to get his body back. Fitz then kills businessmen, putting an end to this war. And just like that, they are free. Or so we thought. Now that we know what happened before, we know that they can escape the simulation. Let's see where this machine takes our lost heroes. In episode 1, too much is happening. Firstly, Fitz is in the real world. Or I think this is the real world. We're introduced to Arya and Professor Wilkes. They are looking for the architect, whoever that is. From the looks of it, everyone is trapped in different worlds. The bee is locked up in the simulation with the clock. Fitz's house in the other real world was demolished. The woman is suspicious of a group of people in a black car. Shark and businessmen are dead with their remains inside of vials. All of this, and we're introduced to Shid Industries, ran by a mysterious man. In the simulation, we see Skillet is planning on freeing someone. Then we hear Muff, the same Muff that was talked about in season 2. All of this was just the first episode. There's so much that happened in the span of 11 minutes. I feel like I would go insane trying to comprehend it all. So let's keep moving forward to better understand what's happening. In episode 2, Skillet tries to break the pods containing Rhoda, Liquor, and the bug. B stops him, telling him these pods keep Cardboard City alive. Shocking how this false world is staying afloat because of 3 people. Shark and Businessman's tube fell over, and they become one. I don't know how, but someone was keeping them alive. Why? I don't know. Just keep going. Peanut and Joe try to find the exit, but these doors that lie in front of them seem to be trapped. I must point out how they're constantly being watched by pineapples. Arya and Fitz talk about where they came from and how to get back to the real world. Here, we learn that Professor Wilkes used to work for Shark and Businessman. This is an assumption, I must say. A beam of light shoots out of the sky. We cut to the green sweater woman, tracking down the frequency. She wants to find them. For what reason, we don't know. Is she an ally? Or is she working with the enemy? It's not explained all too well. Let's continue. Rooster escapes from this underground mushroom world, but he runs into a familiar face. New guy meets with the CEO of SHID for a job. This job requires the occupant to have no connections to anyone. Something tells me this is more sinister than it seems. In episode 3, we see the abomination that is Shark and Businessman. They are planning to do something, but as it stands, they sit and wait. In the same room as them is the clock. As it ticks backwards, we see Arya and Wilkes. They are exploring the cardboard city. It's interesting to note that this place, this quadrant, is one of 222 others. The same number that's always on the clock, 222. It seems that someone here was working with the clock. At the time, we don't really know. The next thing they show disturbed me. To my utter shock, it's what I've been waiting for this whole time. We see everyone before the simulation, before the betrayal. We see everyone sitting at a company table. This is what I've been looking for. This is what I wanted. I knew it. Everyone worked together. Everyone knew each other before this. However, Shark and Businessman are their avatars. They're not their human forms. Rooster isn't even present here. Even though he was involved, I couldn't get any more answers because the clock ticked forward. Oh, goodness, it's only going to get worse from here. Joe and Peanut escape from the Hall of Doors using jet skis. Back with Fitz, we see Professor Wilkes. He's talking to the spider like he knows him. Like everything is going according to his plan. He did have connections with Shark and Businessman. It looks like he still works for them, albeit from the shadows. The episode ends with a pirate ship planning to attack the island. In episode 4, we find out who the invader was. It turned out to be I. In Cardboard City, B and Skillet are trying to find the exit, but they are halted by something out there. In the real world, Man, Woman, and Peanut are having a chat about Fitz going missing, and about the picture she took of the car. However, she realized that Peanut isn't really in this world, and in his place was an imposter. Perhaps someone knew about her location, knew about the photo, and the special box on her table. Joe and Peanut are still in the Hall of Doors. They never left on the jet skis. Peanut sent their captors a surprise drink. After the drink explodes, they're now free. Arya tells Fitz about the ecosystem of this place, the alternate worlds, about the door. Fitz asked her, why should he know about this? She reveals to him, to us, that all of this, all of it, was his idea. To cap things off, Professor Wilkes is having a conversation with the clock.
I guess he never left. He's been playing them all along. In episode 5, Rooster evades the spider and finds himself in another part of the simulation, accompanied by a kid. It's conveyed that this kid has been here for a while. It's like he wasn't supposed to exist here. Golden Joe and Peanut are still trying to escape from the Hall of Doors. When Peanut mentions how the jet skis are duplicated, they escaped on the copied ones. We see where they were held captive. A gigantic rig in the middle of the ocean. Is this the real world? No, of course not. Is it a simulation? I don't know anymore. Well, we don't know at the time. Back in the real world with Fitz, a pack of Tiebats attack the island. They defend said island, but Arya scolds Wilkes for not helping. We see why in the next scene. In episode 6, everything gets revealed. This wasn't just an accident. All of this was planned. Let me explain. Shark and Businessman, they were pawns in this game. We're introduced to a familiar face and a new Shadow Man and the Architect. They have been looking for Fitz this whole time. It's revealed that this whole world is under his control.
All of it was under his control, Cyrus? He's been controlling everything?
It all makes sense. It all makes sense. No one will ever be free from this place. It was all a facade. In the next scene, the Shadow Man is seen talking to Wilkes. It appears that he's been working for the enemy this entire time. We've already known this. We also find out who runs Shid Industries. It was the Shadow Man. Or perhaps, was it the clock? Perhaps they're working together. I did have a theory in the second episode that these two characters are one and the same, but they're seen together. I don't know. For the sake of it, let's just say they are the same. It's only getting confusing. Fitz finally regains his memories. Arya talks about 222 different worlds, and how worlds 1, 2, 3, 6, 37, 74, 111, and 222, these worlds are exits. I thought it had something to do with prime numbers. I was foolish. These numbers are divisible by 222. What's the significance? It's just confirmation that Clock runs this world. All the worlds. Wilkes traps everyone inside of a crystal jail as he plans to get out of the simulation by working with his former employers. Peanut and Joe reach the edge of this ocean world, where to get knocked out by the force field. They were in another simulation the whole time. In episode 7, Fitz finally explains this world, what it is, how it works. It's akin to that of a mouse in a maze. The irony writes itself. Shark and Businessman created this fake world, this simulation. It was all a test to see if Fitz could break free and beat the maze. This entire world, this project, is reliant on the core, what Fitz calls the box of worlds. The core has been misplaced, and if it isn't returned to where it belongs, everyone will die. The facility is rigged to explode, and with them trapped, there's no way to disarm it. However, Joe and Peanut fall from the sky. It looks like that portal ended up leading them to Fitz's location. The Architect located Rooster and transports him to the room. Something from my previous theory gets confirmed. That Muff was hiding as someone. He was hiding as Rooster this whole time. Muff was Rooster. The Architect is trying to get Rooster to help him with the clock. It appears that he stole a project. However, he's not trustworthy. Side note,
Kiki, a friend of Golden Joe, is looking for him. When she runs into Professor Wilkes, she runs him over, and he's dead. The clock appears. It seems to me that he can bring him back to life. Fitz tells Joe and Peanut about the switch. Peanut sacrifices himself to turn it off. In Cardboard City, Shark and Businessman located the pods. It seems that they need it for something. But Skeleton B found them first. What happens after, we don't know. But they're never seen again. In episode 8, Rooster is being interrogated by Industry Man. During this moment, Rooster realized that no one really dies in this place. He says this as Industry Man resurrects Wilkes. Death isn't a concept here, because their original bodies are somewhere else. Everyone's presence is being astral projected into this world. Industry Man is looking for Fitz in the box. Rooster tells him about the kid. Perhaps this kid doesn't belong here after all, or maybe it was just something that was intentional. Either way, the subjects, they're waking up. Professor Wilkes tells him about Fitz's location and the Castelica. Knowing this causes him to rage, shedding his true skin as the clock. In the next scene, Peanut disarms the bomb. Unfortunately, he does not survive. All of his remains are in a vial. On the positive side, the Castelica is closing in on their location. However, it's crashing instead. What is this? Arya explains that they're an AI from the mainframe of the simulation, used as a fail-safe in case test subjects couldn't get out. There's a way to leave this place after all. In episode 9, the members from the Castelica are saved. Elisa and Olaf. He helps by slowing down the crash. They explain everything we know at this point. So now they plan their escape. On Rooster's end, we learn about several things. Professor Wilkes created the Box of Worlds. Clock or Industry Man stole the box or lost it. Professor Wilkes planned on selling it for money. Such technology, such power is worthless to him. The only motivation for him is wealth. Rooster escapes Shid office by jumping out of the window. Affirming that no one really dies, Rooster phases through the worlds. Ends up with a child yet again. Apparently he knows something. Cyrus tells the clock that his plan is failing, how they are coming for him. In the next scene, the man-woman is looking inside the Box of Worlds. Something interesting happens during this moment. It's established that this crayon-drawing world that's supposedly the real world, yet it's inside the box we see on display. Is it a fake world this whole time? How could this world be in the box if it's the real world, the outside world? Again, like I said, this might be another fake world. We'll have to see later. Finally, Olaf and Elisa teleports everyone off this little island. Before this, we are informed that Cyrus hired everyone for this project. All this build-up, all of this lore, all of this betrayal, all of it has led to this. Let's see how it finally ends in the season finale, episode 10. It seems like the worlds themselves are collapsing. They are collapsing in on each other. Arya alludes to this being the architect's doing. He wants everyone in the same place, for a reason. With all of this in mind, I can conclude that the kid is on the surface level of these simulation worlds. My theory is correct when everyone falls through and lands here. They are dead set on killing the clock. They load up and fall through the hole. During this confrontation, the clock drops a revelation. It turns out Arya was the one who betrayed Fitz to begin with. The scenario goes as follows. Fitz and his team, they built the Box of Worlds, with the help of Professor Wilkes, I assume. The clock was ecstatic with this creation. However, it wasn't finished. Fitz warns him about this. Without the escape key, someone will be lost here. Forever. That's when Arya sedates him. and is instructed by the clock to lock him in a box. Something interesting happens during this. Something interesting happens during all of this. Olaf, Elisa, and the bee, they all leave the room after hearing this shocking news. They gave their reasons, sure. However, to me, it feels like they know how this would end. It's like they've been here before. They've seen this happen. They know how it ends. I don't know. We have to finish this. We have to finish this. After defeating the clock, Fitz confronts Arya. She says that she's the one that they've been looking for. She presses a button on her chest and the rooftop explodes. In the end, Professor Wilkes finds the man-woman. He asks her to return the box.
That's all we got. That's it. That's all we got. A season finale that was just a little teaser into the next season. A season that will never come. A season that will never exist. All that build up, all that lore, all that, and for nothing. All that, and it's just gone. The showrunner, Matt Malero, showed great interest in making a season 4. Adult Swim. They didn't care. They didn't even give him the time of day. And now the show, I spent months of my life trying to understand. It's now void. It doesn't make sense. It's convoluted. I guess you could say I wasted my life doing this, but I will not accept defeat that easily. I will not give up that easily just because a show ended with no proper conclusion. That's not an excuse. That is not an excuse. I will break this show. I will crack the mouse. I don't like the sound. So as it stands, that's the finale of 12 Ounce Mouse. A season finale with a teaser, and we will never see the end of it. I would just say, screw it, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to try to make sense out of all of this. My previous theories they may not work now, but I still have to try. That's all I can do, or else all this will be for nothing. So I have 2 theories in mind, just 2. I'll give these 2 theories a shot. Maybe they'll make sense, maybe not. I don't know. I don't have anything left. I want this to end. So these theories goes as follows. The fake world incident. Alongside that, there's another. The failed assassination incident. With these theories, I will try to work in everything we know so far in an attempt to figure out this world. No more talking. Let's just get into this, because it's only gonna get worse from here.
In the beginning, Fitz, Peanut, Joe, Businessman Shark, and to an extent, both Arya and Professor Wilkes, they were hired by the clock and Cyrus. You see, the clock, he wanted to control time, not all of time, just a portion of time, specifically 222. Allow me to derail for a bit. In 1961, Joseph Heller published a book titled Catch-22, a war novel following John Yossarian, a soldier who was paranoid during the war, where he couldn't trust his own platoon. The definition of the term Catch-22 goes as follows: a problematic situation for which the only solution is denied by a circumstance inherent to the problem or by a rule. Now, this may seem irrelevant. I want you to think for a moment. Clock wanted to control a portion of time. However, he couldn't control the real world. He opted to create a fake world with the aid of Fitz, Professor Wilkes, and the architect, Cyrus. That's where the Box of Worlds came from. A place with fictional people, fictional lands, worlds, environments, all created for the clock. Yet, Fitz told him that the box wasn't ready because people could get in, yet they can't get out. Do you see what I mean? Are you following? A problematic situation, but the solution for this situation is denied by circumstances or someone's law. Clock wanted people to be trapped in his world. He wanted people to be locked away. He wanted to control everyone. Arya, at the time, probably thought nothing of it. Perhaps the box would have made them a fortune, but the clock had ulterior motives and locked her away as well. The only people who fully understand the box are Professor Wilkes, Cyrus. It's safe to assume that Wilkes and the clock were working together to sell the box. Cyrus took precautionary steps to secure the box's safety. He entrusted the box to someone, man, woman, in the real world. Later during development, Muff, also known as Rooster, was hired on to write a code to escape the Box of Worlds. I claimed that the corn dogs were a tool to escape the simulation. Arya explained that Olaf and Elisa, they were code created to escape the simulation as well. I feel like I know who wrote that code. Muff wrote Olaf and Elisa. He created the corn dogs as an escape from the Box of Worlds. He prepared for this. However, Clock caught on to ensure his safety and everyone else's. He entered the Box of Worlds, donning a new avatar, Rooster. He was sent to the box to free everyone. At this point, the code was stable. Fitz wasn't aware of anything. However, Clock didn't believe in such false security. So, for extra protection, he sent in Businessman and Shark. However, it wasn't their real forms. It was their avatars. I'm not talking about the box and the shark ones. I'm talking about the human beings. The whole scenario from season 2 where we saw them in person, fake. It was another fake world created in the box. In the real world, when we saw them at the fair, they weren't in their human forms. They were normal. It's almost like the clock knew this would happen, so he sent them into a fake world with fake human avatars to confuse Fitz and everyone else. As time moved on, the code was becoming weaker. The fake world was crumbling. Everyone needed to act. After everything, Fitz met Archaias. I thought this was his wife, but he never had a family. Then I realized Arya conversed about music with Fitz. I put 2 and 2 together. I figured it out. It was her. Arya was Archaias the whole time. When everyone was still in the simulation, she and Wilkes were exploring various worlds, gathering research information, making sure everything was stable for Clock. However, throughout this, she realized that Fitz's world was melting down. She went in as another being, another avatar, Archaias. Somewhere along the way, Peanut and the nurse caught wind of this. They thought she was trying to save Fitz. Instead of telling them off, she ran with it. They planned a way to rescue Fitz and everyone in the simulation. After they succeeded, they sent him to the real world to wait for further instructions. However, even the real world wasn't real. It was still connected to the box. Shark and Businessman, realizing that they're still in this fake world, they devise a plan to be Fitz's shrink to track him down and steal his brain. Along the way, Clock must have figured out that Arya helped Fitz escape and threw her in the Box of Worlds. Professor Wilkes was always loyal to Clock, so he planned on being sent inside the box with her to fool her into thinking they'd both been betrayed. But really, he was waiting for Fitz. After the events of Evictus, everyone gets sent to their new fake worlds. Arya helps Fitz regain his memory so he can help them escape. Professor Wilkes was informing the clock about everything. Now one moment, this all sounds mad, and it is. But there's one thing I must figure out. Who is the kid on the bottom floor with Rooster? I have two theories. One, he was the son in the Letor, way back from season 1. Or in a way, he was Liquor. You see, in season 2, Liquor followed the corn droid out of the simulation and ended up here. Perhaps this was him in his true form, or this was Liquor in another form. Theory 2, this is the new guy. Remember, Industry Man, better known as Clock. He sent him on a mission where he won't be missed, doesn't have any connections, and is open to travel. Now, either one of these theories work. I just hope this makes sense, because I'm trying my damnedest, and I'm still not done. Okay, to rehash everything so it makes a little sense. Fitz and his crew created the Box of Worlds with the help of Professor Wilkes and Arya. Clock wanted to sell this box. Fitz said it wasn't ready. Arya betrays him and Clock locks him away. Shark and Businessman were hired by the Clock to keep an eye out on Fitz. Rooster, who went by Muff at the time, created a code to escape the box. He wanted to save everyone, free everyone, so he went inside as a different avatar, Rooster. Arya tried to help Fitz but was caught and locked away. Professor Wilkes followed suit to keep the Clock updated on everyone's plans. Everyone escapes their fake world and meet up with Rooster and the kid. They go to kill Clock, and it's there we know the full truth. After he dies, Arya blows up everyone in the tower. But did she really kill everyone? Remember, Rooster realized that no one really dies as long as their original bodies are alive. So was this really an explosion to kill anyone, or was it a way to distract someone? Remember, Professor Wilkes is still alive. Although he barely poses a threat, he could still find a way to resurrect Clock. So Arya faked everyone's death so no one would look for them. But why did Peanut die way before? You can make the argument that no one resurrected him, but I like to believe that Peanut didn't belong in this world. Now, how can I come up with such a nonsensical theory? In Enter the Sandmouse, Peanut just vanished without a trace. Fitz said it himself, he was just gone. It could be him signing off from the simulation as his job was done. In his place is an AI, and it's going through the motions as the normal Peanut would. He helped write the code of the Box of the Worlds. Perhaps he was capable of doing this. Maybe it was him, maybe it wasn't. We don't know. In short, Arya didn't kill anyone. She maxed their signal. While in the other world, Professor Wilkes was looking for the box, oblivious to anything. The architect, Cyrus, Green Sweater Woman, the Man-Woman, they're all working together to rescue the others. However, the Man-Woman couldn't pull them out in time, as Professor Wilkes closed in on her location. Now, this was just one theory. Theory 1. The fake world theory. The entire world we saw in season 2, it was fake. Another simulation. However, this next theory might prove otherwise. The next theory. The failed assassination theory. This works if you take into consideration that the real world is the one with human shark and businessmen. Now, you already know what happens. The project was to control a certain part of time. Fitz and his crew were hired, the project was funded, greenlit, and in production for some time. However, Clock didn't want to sell the box. He wanted to see how Fitz would escape the box. He wanted to see how he would escape this world. Like a mouse in a maze. Arya sedates him, hooks him up to the machine as seen in season 2. Shark and Businessman would oversee this experiment. Arya realized how tormented this scenario was, tried to help Fitz. She goes in as Archaius to help free everyone. Peanut and the nurse take arms to kill Shark and Businessman. However, Businessman foresaw this event happening, had them ambushed and thrown into the box, along with Arya. Shark, Businessman, Professor Wilkes, and Clock were 3 steps ahead. Clock sends Wilkes into the simulation to keep an eye out on Arya. And Fitz, this whole time, everything that happened in season 3, everything that happened in Evictus, it was all in his head. He never woke up. He was never free. To this day, he's still being experimented on. We think about it like this. It makes sense, because in season 3, nothing made sense. Fitz, he created these figureheads to take the blame for everything happening. Clock, the architect, the bee, Professor Wilkes. Why would Green Sweater Woman be a threat suddenly? Why are Joe and Peanut being held captive by pineapples? Why would Bee double-cross everyone? He wants to go home? But he told Fitz he could ride the waves to escape, so why would he still be doing favors? Shark stole his brain, and he got it back by eating it. He's coming up with scenarios where he will never lose, even when they swapped his brain with Shark. In season 3, it's like he knows the answers to everything. He wants there to be answers so he can find closure in his own prison. He wants to be the hero in this never-ending story where he defeats Clock, Shark, and Businessman. The finale with Arya is not her killing the entire cast. It's a reset button. They will wake up again. They will continue this cycle because Fitz was never free. He never beat the system. He is still a mouse in a maze. And that is it. That's all I could figure out from this series. 12 Ounce Mouse was once an Adult Swim show with crude humor and animation. On the surface, you could have written it off as confusing, uninteresting, and ugly by this standard. However, when you sat down and peeled the layers back, you've seen that this show was something else. Matt Malero often spoke on being influenced by David Lynch's works. The cryptic, depraved surrealism of his films helped shape 12 Ounce Mouse. To me, this show is a litmus test. It's an experiment. We were the mouse this whole time. We were trying to make it out of the maze. I get it now. I get it now. To see how much of this chicanery could we endure before we switched to channels. Influencing us with subliminal messages until we noticed the puppet master. This was their plan from the very beginning. 12 Ounce Mouse, an interesting piece of media and a time capsule of what made Adult Swim Adult Swim. Crude humor, cheap animation, foul language, the usual. Yet, one thing these shows benefited from was the writing. Take Aqua Teen Hunger Force. When you have a budget that's less than $100,000, most of your efforts are spent on the script. Writing something people will remember, recognize, quote, and live by. This show is intriguing. You want to stop watching it. But the moment you just sit down and listen to what's being said, you will understand. You might be confused, but you will see it for what it is. It tries to tell a convoluted story in a non-linear structure. It leaves you second-guessing every character that Fitz encounters. It leaves you thinking if what's happening is even real. This show deserves more credit than it's worth. It's one of the earliest Adult Swim shows that takes itself seriously in its storytelling. It tries to entice the audience into watching this world unravel, watching Fitz spiral to uncover the truth. 12 Ounce Mouse. While it may not be an appealing show to watch, it's mind-boggling, mind-bending, mind-breaking to watch. All I can say, after I wasted months, days, hours of my life trying to dissect this show, all I can say is this. What time is it?